Please.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country, yeah.
Just in case you thought Trump was going to walk back his disgusting rant from this morning about Rob Reiner, this should put all of that to rest. And that rant, by the way, read in part, quote, "Due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS, he was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump." And the reality is that in one fell swoop, Trump undermined the entire right's ability to be able to claim any moral high ground after the Charlie Kirk shooting. These people fell over themselves, even despite every left-wing elected official condemning violence after the Kirk shooting by saying that the left wasn't gracious enough. And yet now, just months later, here is the literal leader of the Republican Party coming out and immediately trashing a beloved entertainment icon, all for the crime of having different politics than him. Straight from the leader of the party that threatened broadcasters' licenses if they didn't mourn hard enough for Charlie Kirk, the party that called for people to be fired from their jobs if they uttered a critical word of Charlie Kirk, the party that investigated military members for not being devoted enough to Charlie Kirk, and yet now it's crickets from that entire propaganda machine. Where's Brendan Carr, FCC chair, condemning the lack of sympathy? How about all those Republican lawmakers and right-wing commentators? Where's Megyn Kelly and Laura Ingraham? Guess the standard only applies to one party, huh? In fact, speaking of Charlie Kirk, here is what Rob Reiner himself said in the aftermath of Kirk's shooting.
You first heard about the murder of Charlie Kirk. What was your immediate gut reaction to it?
Well, horror, absolute horror. And I unfortunately saw the video of it, and it's beyond belief what happened to him, and that should never happen to anybody. I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service, that the memorial they had, was exactly right. And totally, I believe. I'm Jewish, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus, and I believe in doing to others, and I believe in forgiveness. And what she said to me was beautiful, and absolutely, she forgave his assassin, and I think that is admirable.
Trump was incapable of achieving even 1% the level of grace and class that Reiner offered when his own political opponent was killed. Remember, there was zero political overlap between Rob Reiner and Charlie Kirk, and yet all Reiner offered was kindness and empathy, something Trump couldn't come close to, because Donald Trump is a small, petty man who derives his value and worth from climbing over others and reveling in hatred and division. It's also worth noting that Trump's justification for spewing this bile at Rob Reiner is that he was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. Yeah, how could anybody possibly think that this guy is controlled by Russia?
You think it's time for Zelensky to start accepting things. What things are you talking about?
I think he has to be realistic, and I do wonder about, how long is it going to be till they have an election? It's a democracy. It's a long time. They haven't had an election in a long time. It's losing a lot of people. And it's possible that the people, if you look at the polls, I will say 82%, there was a poll that came out, 82% of the people are demanding a settlement be made, Ukrainian people.
To be clear, the 82% figure he's citing is completely backwards. It's not that 82% want to capitulate to Russia, it's that 82% are against any concessions to Russia. But sure, definitely not controlled by Russia. Got it. And look, I know that there is a sense that we're all just calcified in our political lanes and that Trump is Teflon and nothing he says or does even matters, but I refuse to believe that. First of all, the numbers show that there's much more elasticity than we thought. In the latest election just a few weeks back, anywhere from 7 to 12% of Trump voters in 2024 switched over and voted for Democratic candidates or ballot measures. That is a massive swing. But also, beyond the numbers, perhaps naively, I refuse to believe that Donald Trump dancing on the grave of a man who was just tragically killed by his son does not have some impact on the margins, on the edges. I refuse to believe that this isn't the final straw for a number of people who can already see that Trump does not care about them, has broken virtually every promise he made on the campaign trail to them, and is only delivered for himself and his family. I refuse to believe that we have collectively lost every modicum of our shared humanity, that the United States of America would shrug off this kind of statement. And again, maybe I'm being naive. Maybe I should know better after nearly a decade of covering Trump. Maybe I'm expecting too much from a country that knew full well who this man was and still elected him to lead the country twice, with many of those people voting for him all 3 times. But look, if I didn't think change was possible, I wouldn't work in this business. I would not have dedicated my entire life to trying to persuade people to join our coalition, even if they voted a different way in the past. And frankly, if change wasn't possible, we wouldn't be seeing Democrats win elections by an average of 15 points more than the 2024 election. The last year's worth of election results are a testament to the fact that change can happen and that change does happen. So for as doomed as we're sometimes led to believe this country is, we can also make a concerted effort to find the hope, because it's there, even if it doesn't feel like it. So look, while it physically pains me to cover this, because I don't have the stomach for this kind of violence, because Rob Reiner was a beloved artist who I had the fortune of meeting one time and watching countless times, and because Trump finds new ways to show me that humanity is wholly missing in some very broken human beings, I don't think I'm the only one who sees this and recognizes that there is an immediate and desperate need for change in this country. I'm not yet ready to give up on society, and so if a single person can watch this and recognize that we need to change, then I feel like I've done my job. So for as gross as Trump is, for as gross as the Republicans who embolden him are, I am confident that Americans are going to see this and be just as disgusted as I am, and abandon the movement that has allowed this depravity to fester. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.